Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here with my parents, G-Daddy and Sheila, to talk about the penultimate episode of Survivor, Season 47, Episode 13, Bob and Weave. How are you two doing today on New Day?
Well,
good.
we're doing good, right?
Yeah, we're doing
We're doing good here in the hood.
recovering from the episode, but other than that, we're good.
I guess, yeah, you both would be kind of upset with this episode. Both of your faves are out of the game. So what are your overall thoughts then about how this episode went down?
What are your thoughts?
I just wish, my girl could have pulled it off. It would have been an epic finale. But anyway, it's all good. I thought it was a great episode. Lots of very entertaining, long, very entertaining. And I'm sure David was a little sad.
No, I wasn't sad because my man played a great game up until the very end when he spilled his strategy and was kind of trying to work the jury before the jury was there, so he made a huge mistake, obviously. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that, but outside of that, I thought he played a good game. He came in, had some problems at the beginning, but look at his arc. I mean, he just went and really controlled the game right through, and that's why that came to his demise anyways at the end, just kind of spilling his guts there and letting everybody know what he did. Should have waited for the jury.
Yeah,
exactly.
But he's doing his jury management. Why do jury management to somebody that's not in the jury? Come on, Andy.
Well, I mean, I guess it's like he got the fear set into him. We'll talk about it probably also, how Rachel was just like, nobody believes that you did anything. And like the Operation Italy was a big mistake. And so I think she played into his insecurities here. She won out. Got him to say like, no, I deserve to win. And she's like, oh yeah, you do. You deserve to sit on that jury then. So
no, she did a great job of working his emotions, saying, hey, everyone thinks that you didn't do anything, so you're not going to win if you get to the end and all that stuff. I mean, she did a great job of getting him to say, no, I did this and this and this and this and this. I did all these things, right? And she said, whoa, I didn't know that you were that good. I'm not going against you at the final tribal. You're out. So that's, I mean, she did bring it out on him. I agree with you 100%.
So we have Jeff at the beginning of this episode talking about the themes, and it was a constant shift of power, and everyone that's been on the bottom has been on the top, and savvy social gameplay. Do you agree with how Jeff is seeing this season?
Well, I think that, yeah, definitely there's a lot of things that were going on. People on the bottom did come to the top. People on the top went to the bottom. There was a lot of shifts going on in this game, and it was very, very, let me just say, it was good because all these pieces kept moving around, right? So the board pieces moved around and they flipped and they flopped. And yeah, I think that he had a good assessment of it. What do you think?
I mean, I think that, yeah, definitely there's been a constant shift of power. And I think for me, a lot of it has to do with the players. I feel personally that Jeff feels as though he needs idols and advantages and journeys to make things really interesting. And yes, it has changed things up and allowed people to make some game moves, but I feel like the players playing the game really was what was so strong about this season, in my opinion. And that's what I love about Survivor, is the players just being able to do something, the players being able to concoct a plan and work together to get someone out of the game to advance themselves in the game. So I do agree with his assessment. But I would include that maybe the social, the players themselves were a really strong part of the season.
Well, I think that that's one of the things that's different between what they're doing now versus what they did years ago. Years ago is just bringing average people on to play the game, and these weren't Survivor super fans. So the people that are playing the game, they know every ins and outs. They know what strategies were there. They know if this happens to do this. So I think the players, like you're saying, they're a huge part of this game right now because they're all so smart. They all know the game. They all know the plays, and they're playing against each other. So I think it's brilliant what's happening right now with these good players coming in and playing against each other, right? So it's really definitely outwit. Definitely outwit.
Outwit's my favorite part of the game. They keep on making advertisements of like, come play Survivor, and like I'm tempted. I don't know if I can hack it, but I am tempted to apply for a Survivor. Would you guys cover the show if I was on it?
I tell you what, if you're on the show, we'll cover it. You get there and we'll cover it.
Okay. Hi, Glenda. Glenda says hello to all of us. Happy Monday. Jeff does go through the final 6. So he talks about Andy saying one of the worst starts in history of Survivor. And now he's, instead of falling into his bad start, he's really dug his heels into the game and is really kind of excelled. So you said that, Dad, that you felt that was his game journey. Anything else you want to add to Andy's game up until this point?
Andy played a really good game because there's a lot of things that he did that not a lot of people know that he did, but he knows that he did, and he'd be able to point them out. I really do think that he played a really great game, and I would have liked to have seen him at the end, and I would love to see him come back, quite frankly, because he is a great player, a very, very smart player. And I think that he did a great job controlling a lot of the moves that happened in this game. I mean, at least for the second half, right? He really, after the merge, he really got in there and kind of saved himself because he was also on the outs as well. So between him and Rachel after the merge, they did really well together. What do you think, Sheila?
Yeah.
And Glenda wants me to apply. I just might.
Yeah, so that would be fun. We'd definitely cover it if you're on it. I mean, Andy's ego got in the way. Andy's ego was his demise. So if he can figure out how to keep his ego in check, he has a great chance. That's all
Well, and also some of our favorite Survivor winners have played multiple games before they got that win, whether it's Boston Rob, Poverty. Sandra played a couple times and she won a couple times, but there's been Tyson has played, I think 4 times before he won, or 3 times before he won. So, he did, I think, a really good job. I think he learned about himself and learned how to potentially play this game. And if he were to come back, it might be harder for him just because people will know that his whole shtick of I'm useless, is not gonna really work. But he will have the knowledge of how to play this game and how to do well. And so,
no, I agree with you on that. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, though, I don't know how far back Tyson was, and yeah, good morning. I'm not sure how far back Tyson was. But I remember him playing the game, but realize now that you've got so much knowledge base. So you've got so much information now with all the games all the way up to now that the players are just going to get better and better and better and be able to make, better moves and so forth. So it's like a chess match where, they really know the game and they're playing their, beginning, middle, and end, right? So they're playing all of those pieces and understand where they are in the game. So I love it. I really love this season. I
think Andy could maybe do well on a returning season. So if everybody was already a previous player, I don't think that he would do well in a mixed season. But maybe returning where there'd be some bigger fish to fry than Andy, and he might be able to kind of sneak to the end. So
do we ever see that? Or do we ever see anyone that comes back and it's mixed and they win? They usually get out early, right?
Mixed, when has it been a mixed one? I feel like, yeah, Glenda thinks Andy for season 50. I wouldn't be surprised. We talked about a lot that he had a lot of the episode titles. It seems like he's a favorite of Jeff's, with his growth. He has a big story. Jeff loves these stories, and Andy really gave him a story to tell. And so I can see Andy being somebody that Jeff would want for season 50.
It was a great story.
Mm-hmm.
What about Sam? So we talked about how Sam had a lot of power earlier on in the game on the Gata tribe, and now he's had to play a little bit more scrappy since the merge. Sheila, do you think that Sam has really played that scrappy since the merge, or do you think Jeff just didn't have that much to say to him about him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sam's kind of I don't see anything outstanding about him, but he's still there. So he's good. He had that leadership role with Sierra at the beginning, but then he's been floundering to me ever since. Yeah, he did the heist with Andy. That was great, but he did it because it was in his own best interest. Let's be real, and him and Genevieve. So I mean, yeah, he hasn't really masterminded anything lately, but well, let's see what happens now. We're coming down to the wire, so we'll see what he does.
I think he had some good moves. I mean, after the merge, he went and blew up and told Saul that they were going to be voting him out. That was a big play that he made. And I think even in this game, for him to realize, or this episode, for him to realize, you know what, I got to let them know that the idol's fake. I mean, that's a move right there, because that does turn everybody and have them looking at somebody else. So I think he's done a good job of kind of pushing everybody off of him to somebody else throughout the game. Whether it's Gabe, Kyle, he's done a good job. Go ahead.
Sorry. Kate, the Great One, says he held on, but to me, all of his moves were linked to Andy's in the post-merge, including Sierra's boot.
That's true.
So yeah, I do think he definitely had a link to Andy. Like, Andy seemed to be the person that brought Sam in a lot of these times, but he's not drawing dead, I don't think. I'm going to talk a lot about we will all talk about who we think is going to potentially win the season, and Sam has a case after this episode, in my opinion. So I don't know if he's playing scrappy, but I definitely think that after this episode, he played a little more scrappy, and he's likely going to get himself to the end, which is what you need to do to potentially
He's got a good chance.
Yeah, he's got a good chance.
So at this point, Genevieve, he says, is social, strategic, and she is cutthroat, and everyone knows it, and that's why that she has a very big target on her back. Yeah, Genevieve was never really able to shake this cutthroat. Like, her Saul move wasn't that great. Like, you know what I mean? It didn't get what she wanted. She got this target on her back. It wasn't that great. And why do you think that she was so feared? Just because of the whole no emotion thing, Sheila?
No, I think people started to realize that she's very strategic. I think there's a few things that she did, and I can't remember specifically, where people took notice. Oh, Genevieve was behind that, or so I think that people started to realize, okay, she's playing the game. She's really strategic. She's playing the game. So I think it was more fear of her tactics or what she might think about doing. Like, she found that, remember when they all had to run and find that one thing, and it was a buoy in the water? True. She went after it and then came back and said, I found it. But I don't know. I just felt like that was maybe a turning point for her, where people started to realize that she has a game and not to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that kind of stuck with her.
No, I think it was Teeny and Andy pushing that out, because Teeny was pushing that out because she was getting hoodwinked every time. She was being hoodwinked every time. So as far as she was concerned, Genevieve was a really strategic player. Can't trust her. She's cutthroat. She'll get rid of you. Look, she got rid of Keyshawn. Look, she got rid of Saul. They were on her. Well, Keyshawn, obviously, that was early. But, they were part of, what was that tribe called again? The Lavo tribe, right? So they're part of that. But I think Teeny spread, I don't want to say disinformation, but she spread and put the doubts in the minds of everybody else, I think, in regards to Genevieve. I don't know if anybody else, except for maybe Rachel towards the end, but it was really Teeny that was spreading that word about how bad she is, and she did this, and I'm crying because she did this to me, and I'm so sad, and so on and so forth. She's not to be trusted, and all of those things. So I think it was Teeny that put that out there.
Yeah, and I think also her decision to not try to connect with people and kind of gave people that, oh, she's not really, I don't really get to know her. She's a standoffish. She's at arm's length. So I think that was part of it too.
Well, that was her, right? She's too vocal about that. Yeah, saying that she's a strategic player and she's going to leave her emotions. That was her undoing.
That's true.
Right there.
I mean, maybe it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy to like put that out there, so then that she couldn't win. Like, she could have, like, if she allowed herself to maybe lead into her emotions a little bit sooner, or she didn't vocalize the fact that she was just going to be this robot of a player and be cutthroat, maybe then people wouldn't have assumed that about her, but I think her putting it out there, I think also I agree that it led to her being such a target. But Teeny's been very open and very emotional of a player. What do you guys think of Teeny's game up until this point?
What game? What game? You know that game?
She spreads a lot. Well, if anyone wants anyone to know anything, they tell her.
Yeah, she's
like
got
the
no
town
game.
crier, right? So that's her game.
I mean, so, Teeny's going through. She's only 23. Come on, so she's got a lot to learn, and she's around people that are older than her, that are wiser than her, and she's easy to hoodwink, right? I mean, real plain and simple. But I don't see anything that she's done at all. I mean, what has she done other than burn her back? What has she done?
I mean, we were hoping that it was her Phoenix from the rising from the ashes moment there, but
it was like when they do fire and it starts and it's gone. It's like
immediately
stopped. It's gone.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't really have seen much of a game for Teeny, and I'm wondering, I know I'm a fan of Asia's, of course, but I'm wondering if she had instead have sided with Asia and Saul at the beginning, taking out Genevieve from the beginning, how would her game have been a lot different? Because Asia is more of an inclusive player. Asia is somebody that would be playing with her heart. Look how close she got to Saul after this whole thing that she was crying when Genevieve took him out. I think it would have been a really strong power trio because Sean wouldn't have been taken out. It would have been Rome and Genevieve that were out first of that Lavo tribe. And who knows how things would have shaken out. She might have had power and more information longer in the game. And so I'm just very curious if we saw the sliding doors of that version of the season, if Teeny would have been better at the game.
I don't think so. She doesn't know the game, I don't think, as well as she thinks that she knows the game. So I don't think it would have made much difference for her.
No, because like she said, my friends wouldn't be surprised at how I would do that. Because she's just being herself. There's no alter ego or strategy to me. And I'm wondering, is that why she's still here? Because people figure even if she gets to final 3, no one's going to vote for her. Do they feel like she's easy, fill a seat and not be a threat?
Well, she doesn't know
is that why she's still here?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't know that because she also, no, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying some really good players have gone and she's still there. So I'm thinking
she thinks she's a good player though, right? So, I mean, even at the very end there, and potentially win this game, she thinks that she's do you remember that part at the end?
Maybe that was no, I do remember that part. I definitely wrote it down. I think I put haha beside it. But I mentioned I liked Teeny's personality when I met her in person. I do feel as though she might be a little bit deluded in what she's done in this season, this game, and I do not think that she has a shot at winning, at least at this point of the season. Kate says that Teeny needed a mentor. Yeah, and that was probably Saul. That could have been Asia. She needs someone to help guide her that was going to be honest with her and not try to hoodwink her, as you said.
Well, however, though, remember at the beginning that she was not looking for anybody. She thought she was in control and she thought that she was guiding the votes and so forth. So she thought that she was the one leading at first, and she just definitely wasn't. So I agree that she needed somebody to work with that would definitely pull her along. But she just went in there thinking that, okay, I know everything about the game, and I'm gonna tell people what to do, and they're gonna do it, and they just didn't. They just.
Kate I was right there after the show on Wednesday. Yeah. Teeny. Hi Taj says, I think those 3 Lavo would have done better. They would have went into merge trusting each other at least. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Curious. Okay, also Sue, she's got an idol. Nobody knows about it. But her real strength comes from her loyalty, and she just lost her last idol or ally. What do we think about Sue's game? Silence.
She's very loyal. she does trust is a big thing. She did find the idol, didn't let anybody know. She was always looking for idols, as we saw. And overall, I mean, there's no game. other than again, we talked about
Plastic.
mentor. She was just hanging on to different people's coattails from Gabe. Then when Gabe was gone, when she went to Caroline, and she's just been hanging on to coattails all the way through. Even when they did her dirty, like when Caroline did her dirty, she still came back because that was somebody that she could align with, and so I haven't seen her do anything really, to be honest with you. She won she won one immunity idol, I think, at one point.
Mhm.
Yeah, when it
think
was.
so.
Oh
She
yeah,
was,
her and
she
Kyle.
won one when there was like she was on the women's side or something like that. She won one, but what else has she done? I mean, what else has she done other than look and get her face all dirty and stuff?
Yeah.
Seriously,
I
what else
actually
has
don't
she
think that
done?
she's done very much. And, you know, as much as I appreciate a 45-year-old woman playing the game, I think that it would have been more impressive for me if she used her idol in a way that was going to propel her in the game. Like, if she were the one that used her secret idol instead of Rachel this episode to get out, like something like that, instead of using it on herself and it not working, like not needing it, it would have been more impressive.
She should have used it for Genevieve.
That would have been
That would have been
Genevieve,
great.
yeah,
If she would have
amazing.
used it for Genevieve, and it would have been a big
But
switch
she
there.
doesn't want to be in the final three with Genevieve and Rachel like that. There's like no hope at all for her in that case.
That's
So it really
true.
wasn't going to help her in the long run.
That's true.
Geez, no, I mean,
She might as well have gone home with the idol because it was
Yeah,
useless. It didn't do anything.
I think it would have been more powerful for her to be at the end. Like, I was the one that found that red paint idol. Nobody knew about it. And, you know, here
Yeah.
I'm able to sit here at the final three. I didn't even need it to get here. Either that or use it in a way earlier on to, like, she should have maybe used it to save Caroline. Like, because she wanted to save it. And apparently from secret scenes or from Caroline's exit press, she said that she told Sue not to play it. I think it would have been really cool if, like, okay, she said not to play it, but I am going to use my own instincts here, and I think that I should give this a try because I would rather risk using it and have you stay in the game than you go home and me still have it. So that would have been
That would have
probably,
been a great move. That would have been a
That
great
would have been
move right there.
great.
That would have
like,
been a
even
great
Caroline
play.
would have been shocked that she did it and then been saved. Like, that would have been an epic move in front of the jury.
And then who knows who would have aligned and who knows who would have gotten. It could have been so, you know, that would have been a super good twist.
Who would have went out then if
They
she
would
had
have
done
gotten
that?
late range Rachel out. Genevieve, Caroline, and Sue would
No,
have.
Rachel had an immunity idol at that
Oh, yeah,
point
that
when
Rachel-
It
Caroline
would have
went.
been
That
probably
would've been-
Genevieve, I think, would have been out. I think.
Would have been
Yeah.
Or
Genevieve,
was
yeah.
it Genevieve?
No matter what.
Was that the two? I can't remember the two.
Yeah.
Chat, do you guys remember which two was there at that time? It would have been, I would have been a strong player, a power player. So
Probably Genevieve.
I think, yeah, was it between
Yeah.
the two of them? I think.
Yeah, because it was like, do we vote out? But no, Genevieve was part of the Operation Italy, but that would have been a good twist then, because Genevieve was the one that they were wanting to put.
Oh
votes
yeah,
on.
they had. Oh no, it was 2-2 at that point. Yeah, you're right. So
Right.
it was 2 votes on Sam, 2 votes on Genevieve. So it would have been a revote between those two. And Sam
Yeah.
would have probably gone out actually because Teeny was wanting to get Sam out. And so that probably would have been what happened unless Rachel, Caroline, and Sue took out Genevieve. So that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Would have been
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. Hey, but hey, Sue's still here.
Is she like another Teeny?
Sue
filling a
is
seat?
still here. Who knows?
Yeah.
You
What
know,
happens if there's like a final 2 and it's Teeny and Sue? I think Sue game.
Oh, Sue. Well, I don't know.
Well, Sue found an idol, so she'd win because she did accomplish more than Teeny. Her list is a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Teeny has no.
Yeah, by one.
Teeny
And she
has
has
no
friends in
hardware to show
Jury,
for
I
it.
would say, her old Blue Tribe.
Yeah, she's
Sue.
got Gabe. She's got Caroline. She's got. I don't think she's got Kyle. But she definitely would have, I think, Gabe and Caroline, and who knows who else. I felt like, geez, she's just like my mother.
Then we have Rachel, who has won 2 individual immunity challenges at this point. She has a block of votes. She has an idol that nobody knows about. She is the biggest threat in this game. True. Okay, so you're not that impressed with Rachel, Sheila.
No, I am. I think she's amazing. She's super smart, and she's not overt about it. Like she doesn't come off as Miss Strategy and watch out for me. She's just unassuming.
Yeah, I think that I just think she's got guts, and the fact that she was trying to steal the rice at first. I mean, that took a lot of guts.
Yeah, we should
Putting
have
it in her
known that she was
pocket.
going to
So
be.
I should have told everybody that she's willing to do whatever she needed to do right there.
Right.
And I just think Rachel's played a phenomenal game. Now she got lucky.
Yeah.
So let's just say she got
Very
lucky with Saul giving her the chance to kind of leave tribal that time. She got lucky because she would have been gone. Without Saul, she would be gone. And so she's gotten extremely
and she
lucky.
went on the journey. She got an advantage, and she
got the idol clue in her auction.
In her burger. Yeah. So she's just had a lot of advantage.
She might have the horseshoes in her pocket instead of the rice now or something.
Hey, it's like when it's meant to be, it's like maybe that's the trajectory it was supposed to,
Well, remember, it's all editing,
seamless.
right? So they're showing the edits basically, and the edits right now are showing Rachel kind of winning.
Rachel's journey, really.
Basically it's Rachel's journey. So I think a big part of it, you got to look at the edit. But yeah, the edit is showing that she has basically, surpassed everybody and really is on top of everybody as far as this game has gone.
I definitely have things to say about that, but I'll say it at the end of our recaps here because I have some thoughts as to like what I think might happen on the final episode.
Okay.
All right, so getting into this actual episode, we're in the night of day 22, and Sue is super pissed off. She wants to rip Andy's head off because he just flipped on them. And then we see Andy, Jen, and Genevieve and Sam feeling pretty good about the fact that they pulled off Operation Italy. They're super excited about this. And then he's like, "If you guys cut me at 5, I'm gonna barf. I'm gonna puke my guts out." What do you think about Sue's reaction to Andy and what he's done, and then the three of them kind of getting together to talk about what gone down? Sheila.
Oh, so I think that if she was pissed at Kyle the entire season for him writing her name down, I can't even imagine what she's going to do to Andy at this point, because he flipped and they were messed up, and her bestie went home. And maybe she's also partly angry because she could have saved her.
Yeah.
And didn't.
Should have.
And that was a missed opportunity.
Her fault.
Yeah, I mean, no, go ahead. I
was gonna jump to the next bit. With Teeny at the camp being like, is Andy better at this game than we all thought, or are we all worse than we think? And I'm like, I think both.
It's a combination of both.
Well, who was sitting there? Sue
and Rachel.
Rachel. Okay, yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I do think Andy's better at this game than you're giving him credit for. And Teeny specifically, I think that you might be worse at this game than you actually know.
But everyone thinks that the game has got to go their way. I mean, the fact that he flipped, all of his flips were great moves. Like when he flipped. I mean, and they're just putting a really nasty label on it. Flipping. You flipped. No, he was strategic and he moved the game in a different direction. So I don't know. I don't see the negativity about somebody deciding that, hey, I'm playing my game for me. I want to move forward, and it's a better game for me if I do this. But they make it like it's high school or something like that. Oh, he flipped. He told on me. All of that stuff. Right? It's just like high school.
Because it messed up their game.
Because it messed up their game. Exactly.
They can't be angry because, as we'll see moving down, the same ones that are pissed at others flipping end up flipping. So, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Well, yeah, I definitely agree that flipping has got a little bit of a negative, connotation in this season, but it is because their games are being messed up. I think it's just also illuminates the fact that they weren't taking into account that he might flip, that somebody might not be telling the truth. They definitely should have been. They've seen him do this in the past. They should be like, okay, so what if Andy flips? Could he be doing this so that he flips? They should have been weighing out these odds that it was a possibility, especially if he's a known flipper. So I think that they're just upset that they didn't mitigate that problem, and they got duped by Andy again.
I agree. I mean, but hey, his sleepover, Is there a sleepover with the two of them? What are they going to do? They're going to come up with some kind of plan. It's almost obvious that they're going to do that. Is he going to go there and they're going to be pitching him? He's going to say, no, just for 5 minutes. And then they all go off and there's different directions. No, they're going to sit there and say, okay, how can we change the game? That was obvious. They didn't see that because they had their 5 and they were in the underdog alliance with the overdogs, really. But they had their alliance going and they thought that it was strong. I don't think any alliance is strong, especially when it's 5 or so players. How strong can that be? Anyone can flip at any time.
But Sue has no respect for flip-floppers. No respect. I'm like, I get it. It's annoying. But either get that person out of the game so you don't have to play with somebody that you can't rely on them for their loyalty, or you work around it. I don't know. I think that his gameplay to me has been pretty obvious, that he's always kind of scraping by, trying to get to the next phase of the game, that he's willing to do anything for the most part. It seems pretty obvious that he would try to be making a move here, but not in the game. Who knows if I'd see it. Again?
Sue to Andy, a quote I'm looking at here. Sue to Andy, I trusted you, Andy. Now I'll do whatever it takes to make you regret this. Okay. She's not happy.
Mob boss over here. Ingrid says Rachel didn't get lucky with Saul saving her because she got incredibly unlucky with the split being her and 5 Tukus. Okay, so maybe we'll cancel out that bad luck with a good luck there. Okay. She wasn't screwed by that twist, that she wouldn't have needed the luck in the first place. Okay, so we'll cancel out that her being saved by Saul because she was in a shitty position at that part. But she still got lucky with some other stuff. So Teeny needs to talk to Andy at this point, and Andy said that he said that he thought this up en route to tribal council. I was like, Teeny, if you even come close to believing this, after they spent all night together, to Genevieve, who has already duped you a couple of times and lied to you, and Sam, who you want out of this game, and Andy, who you don't necessarily trust, telling you I just came up with this on the way to tribal. How can you believe that? He's you can see him. She probably can't, but he's smiling when he's saying this. He doesn't even look believable to us. You guys are laughing. Teeny's just been
it's funny.
Again.
I agree with you. It's funny.
He's it's a grand conspiracy to take over the game. And in his confessional, he's like, but it is. It is. And then Sam is talking to her and saying it was just really a happy accident. They're all sitting there I feel like when they're telling Teeny it was a happy accident and I thought that this was going to happen and this was going to happen. Teeny is just eating it up, and I'm just looking at Genevieve was just like, is she buying this? Not possible, but I think she wanted to believe it. And so it just allowed this, to make her feel better about being duped. It's not a good game, not a good assessment there. So now Teeny wants to get Rachel out and work with Operation Italy. So while this is all happening, the 4 of them are talking, and then Rachel gets the idea to go and spy on the 4 of them talking about her. And so she is listening in on their conversation, hears that Teeny tells them that she has a block of vote, and that basically she is target number 1. Dad, did you like Rachel spying here, or do you think that was, not the right thing to do?
I thought it was great. What do you mean? I thought it was great. It was great TV. Her rolling up on him. It would have been great if they would have caught her, but her rolling up on him in the dark, right? Can't see anything. And she's there laying right beside them, listening to everything. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was a great move. They knew
that happened before they watched it, or if they only saw Rachel sneaking up on them when they actually watched back the episode.
Say that again?
I wonder if they had talked about it at camp about Rachel overhearing them, or if they found out about her overhearing them when they watched the season back. Just curious.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I would imagine that they would have found out. Maybe. They talked to each other at the end of the game, I would imagine, right? So maybe there. But yeah, her crawling up. I mean, she's lucky she didn't trip through the bushes.
I mean, that would have been so good. Like, whoa, what? Rachel, what are you doing here?
But why would they do it so close? I mean, why would they just go to the beach and do it right there? I mean, they did it so close.
I mean, they probably thought that they would hear anybody coming around them, or you'd see a camera light that would illuminate them that someone's coming. So I think they probably just thought that they would be able to tell if someone was coming around.
Well, how would they actually film that with Rachel there without them seeing the cameraman? Was he like on the down low as well?
Maybe.
I mean, where was the light? Like, how would we see her then?
Well, it was infrared, right?
I know, but so then there's no light.
I don't know. I don't know how that works, but it's infrared. But he would have to be, I mean, come on, he would have to be where? Is he like far back and is zooming in? I mean, he would have to be following her down to see what she's doing. So
you think that there would be a light of some sort that would be following her around.
I would think so.
And you'd have two people now traipsing through the brush where you'd hear something. Like, I'm surprised they didn't hear twigs or cracking, and like there would be movement.
Yeah, I think that they were so
engrossed in their conversation.
Yes, they were so engrossed in the conversation. They're feeling that euphoria that they just finished Operation Italy, and I think that
buying their life.
He was laughing and
really loud. They were laughing,
drowning out any noise.
They were lying to her right there, right, when they were talking about Operation Italy, and she's got an idol and all that stuff. I thought that was great.
So the next day, Sue is missing Caroline, and she's feeling unsafe in this game now that she has no real other allies. So she goes to hunt for another idol. She's around the well, and Rachel finds her and tells Sue that, no, you don't have to look anymore for this idol. I have an idol. And so now she tells her that Teeny is not with them anymore, that she wants to work with Sue now, and just giving her all that information. Did you think this was a good idea for Rachel to let Sue know this? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Sheila?
I think it's great because it's trust, right?
Yeah, and put her out of her misery. Jeez. Rachel probably couldn't watch it anymore. Like, she was so compulsive about it.
No, I think Sue's there. Now you go over there. You go look over there. And Rachel's thinking, I ain't going over there. I already got the idol, man. I'm not going over there. Like, you want me to go there and dig as well and get dirty like you? Yeah. No, I'm not doing that.
I don't need to.
I got the idol, so stop.
And I think also, if Rachel does want to have Sue as an ally, knows that Sue kind of operates with loyalty and information and feeling like she's working with somebody. So giving that information obviously is going to have that bond with her. But I would be pissed if I thought I had like a final two, or like I'm working really hard with somebody. They had an idol this whole time and watched me crawl around in like the lavatory area, like searching for this idol that you had this whole time. I'd be pissed. If I were on the jury, I'd be like, do you know what? You made me crawl through poop and looking for an idol. Like, I'm not happy about this. So yeah, I'd be pissed. No pun intended. So Kate says Jeff is always bragging about how the cameraman hid so well. I haven't listened to his podcast. Have you guys had the fortune to listen to Jeff's podcast?
I didn't.
I don't think I did this week.
No,
I have, but not this week.
I just can't get into it, to be honest. I've tried.
Oh, okay. So they hide so well. Okay.
I will. You know what? I will ask. Like, I'll get maybe Rob or somebody that I know that does the exit interviews when they do the exit after the finale. I'll get them to ask Rachel about that and see if we can get that answer. So, remind me if I don't remember to ask some friends about that. So we get tree mail. It's day 33. It says Bob and Weave in the tree mail. So Andy did not get this episode title. It was tree mail. Either they have to sink or swim, or it's your time to leave. So we're going to be having an immunity challenge. Bring in the boat, which is so dramatic how Jeff is sometimes. But I know he's creating a TV show, but it's very, very funny. I kind of want to like take all of Jeff's just commentary to the whole episode just to hear him be like, bring in the boat, dig deep, like all the Jeffisms, and just listen to them every episode. I think.
Is this where, when with the tree mail, is this where Teeny I came in, and that's where Bob and Weave came from, right? It was
Yeah.
at that point.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
female. That's where the title came from when she said it. Yeah.
Exactly. But it wasn't Andy. It was not
It was not
Andy.
Andy. That should have been our clue, right? You didn't get the title, so you're going home, bro.
So basically, they're going to have to jump into this water, swim into a platform, move a buoy through an obstacle, and then solve a puzzle. Genevieve says, I don't like these puzzles because we remember her and Rome doing these puzzles. So now this favors your theory, Sheila, that Genevieve might have been throwing this puzzle, or the original puzzle with Rome. Rome had said in his exit interviews that, like, no, we were just really bad at this puzzle. But now with the way that this whole challenge ends up, Sheila, where do you stand on Genevieve's puzzle abilities?
I stand by my original theory. She's too good. Look how good she was. That's not, she would have been handing him the right ones, or ones that were close to being right, not like something that was absolutely not going to fit there.
Did Keyshawn go out that episode?
Maybe.
So I wonder, yeah, you could be very right with, like,
and they won't. They'll never fess up. They won't.
Well, she might fess. Maybe Rome was doing it honestly, but maybe Genevieve wasn't actually. Maybe she wanted Keyshawn gone. Okay.
And look at the position though. So Genevieve might have been good at putting the pieces in, but she wasn't at that position with Rome. She was the one just passing the pieces, and I don't think she was really looking that well, obviously. But you pass the piece to see if it works or not. But
she would have adjusted her game. She's smart enough to know, okay, what I'm handing him is not working. I need to see what she would have adjusted. She wouldn't have just kept giving blatantly wrong pieces to him. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm giving her more credit. I don't know.
I haven't listened to her interviews yet because I was kind of salty. So I haven't seen her exit interviews, but I will go and take a peek to see if they discuss this on any of them.
What were you salty about?
Well, I just wanted the game to go differently. It just, like, how it shook out wasn't for her to win, but I really wish that I just thought it played out differently. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. It would have been great, having both of them at the final four.
I really, really, really wanted that to happen. And I just hated that they were kind of going against each other. And it kind of starts here to be obvious because Genevieve said that I don't like these types of puzzles. And Rachel says, I do. And Genevieve's like, I know you do. And so it's like right there, they're back and forth, knowing that it's kind of between the two of them, who is going to go home. Like, whoever wins this, the other one is likely to go home. It's kind of what they're intimating here. They're also playing for reward, which is the steak, baked potato, wine, juice, cheesecake. And then he says, big enough stakes. And I wasn't looking at the TV when he said this. I guess maybe I was writing that down. And in my head, I was like, oh, steaks, pun, haha, funny. And then, like, I realized that it was an intentional pun from Jeff, and that he was waiting for the rest of the cast to pick up on it. But I did pick up on the pun. Did you guys?
I still didn't pick up on it, even when you're saying it right now. So what's the pun?
Well, he said steak, baked potato, and he says, "Is that big enough stakes?"
Oh, okay, got it.
So I heard the pun. I love a pun, and he waited for the rest of the cast to hear it. I guess waited for you to hear it as well. So, the whole challenge goes, pretty much Sam was out in front, then Genevieve was kind of coming up behind, then Rachel, but Genevieve does manage to get to the puzzle first. Eventually, everybody does get to the puzzle, but it was a Rachel and Genevieve showdown here. I was worried, of course, that Rachel was going to win this because it is a little bit more up her alley, and Genevieve hasn't showed to be great at puzzles, but our girl, Genevieve, Canadian lady, decides to win this one and gets her first individual immunity challenge, which I thought was great.
It was great.
So Genevieve, though, decides to take Sue and Teeny. Sam says, don't take me. My stomach is in shambles here. And so she ends up leaving original Gata together, and she takes Sue and Teeny on this reward. Do we think this was the best choice for Genevieve on who to take?
I do, because she, Rachel's obviously the target. So she wants to bring over whoever she can, like throw it out there, see what she can drum up.
Yeah, that's good. Do you think Sam really, his stomach was really upset?
I think he said after he wasn't feeling very well. So I think he doubled down on that, like in regular press recently.
It's from Operation Italy, eating all the Italian food.
Like we've seen, what was it, Joe Del Campo, I think his name was, on season, I don't know, like 30 something. He ate all that steak and then he had to get medevac because like he wasn't able to digest it. So
no,
yeah, so maybe his stomach really was in shambles,
Those
are big enough.
Sue, I'm not going over there to find the idol, Sue.
or Rome's not going to be following him around to make sure, So Rachel is saying in her confessional that her and Sue are basically going to decide who goes home. And so for me, it makes me think that this is not going to happen. I was like, maybe this is going to be a Sue misdirect, because whenever they lay things out there so clearly, I'm always like, that's not going to be the clear plan, right? We know that Rachel has this idol and the block of vote. Maybe she's going to be too confident and misuse it. Like that's what I was thinking that they were leading us up for, or they think that it's going to be Rachel. They go all on Rachel, but they actually just decide to go on Sue, and Sue goes out with the idol. Like I just thought something more sinister or sneaky was going to happen. We go to the sanctuary, and Genevie said 3. What am I talking about? 17 aisle. Sorry. I didn't finish my sentence. I don't know what I wrote there. Someone says, though, I'll never beat her in a puzzle or fire. That must be about
Teeny.
Rachel. Teeny said that?
I think it was Teeny that said that, yeah.
And then the red wine starts talking with Teeny. And that, wait, what's the surprise face?
No, red wine. That was a huge bucket that she was drinking out of. that was huge, man. And she's young, and she started drinking.
And she hasn't had any in a while.
Wow.
This is like a couple of challenges ago. It's like a week. It's gone by.
But who was it that said, are you pouring first? Was it Genevieve that was actually pouring at that point, or was that
Teeny
was that
pouring.
Teeny
I think
pouring?
Teeny was always taking control of the wine.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Okay, well, look at this. Okay, look at this. When Jeff was mentioning the food that was going to be at this reward, when he said red wine, Teeny jumped. She didn't react to anything until red wine. She jumped like with joy. So I don't know, like that's her thing, and that's why maybe she takes control of it. Then she can pour as much for herself as she wants.
At least it's red wine and not white wine. I mean, yeah, I say that because red is better than white. Overall, it's
healthier alternative.
It's better overall. A lot of people start off with white and then they end up with red. So she knows her wines. Red, yes, I'm there.
Glenda says Teeny loves some alcohol.
Some alcohol. Any alcohol. Is that what she's saying, Glenda? Any alcohol.
I think, it might be any. Wine seems to be what they offer mostly on the show. So it seems like Teeny is into the wine.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do shots, right? So.
Well, we saw that one season. What season was that? Where Tom Weston won, and they were drinking hard alcohol, and he got like drunk, like he was like wasted. He didn't even like blackout, like getting blackout on Survivor. That's insane.
They're on empty stomachs. I mean, come on.
I know, but like it's just so insane to me to be like, what happened last night? And I'm like, you were on Survivor. You were recorded.
Well, the fact is, to get so drunk and then have to go and perform the next day, I mean, that's got to be difficult, right?
Exactly. I mean, and also we see that loose lips sink some ships here. We see Teeny with her red wine looseness here, telling Sue about Genevieve's idol being real and be like, whoops. And Genevieve loved this though, and I loved how much she loved it, being like, "Oh, you want to make it seem like my idol is even more real than it actually is because it's a very fake idol." She was loving Teeny spilling this here.
She goes, "I'll pour you more wine." That was so funny.
Drink away.
Here's some more wine.
Yes, her secret idol.
But all of this was happening in front of Sue.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sue, basically she knows what Rachel's got at this point. I believe she knows that she's got the idol, and basically whoever they want to have voted out is going to get voted out, is what she says, right?
Exactly. So Rachel is saying that, back with the other Gata, that Genevieve will win this game, and kind of like being mad at the two of them for working with Genevieve. And I'm just like, Rachel, you're also very dangerous in this game. Like, they were just trying to get 1 week further, and it wouldn't necessarily have been beneficial for Andy to stick with that 5. He would have been out at 5, and and the 4 women would have gone to the end, and then Rachel would have had a pretty easy path to the end. And so they had to try something. They had to make a move to be able to do something. And so I get, like, if I was Rachel, I would be doing anything that I could to break them up or make them feel a type of way about their situation. But when I'm looking at it, I'm like, Rachel, they had to do something. Like, why are they just going to let you win? You're equally as dangerous as Genevieve. So
I think she was playing them, though, at that point on the beach when the 3 of them are sitting there. I think she was just playing them, saying she's weak, and getting them to vote her out, knowing that she's got the idol.
And she's mad at
she's
herself.
crying about her
and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
that was great acting.
That was
right
good
there.
I agree with you. She was just playing right into them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she was legitimately upset for the fact that, these are people that she started the game with. So she's been with them for over 3 weeks playing Survivor, and it's emotional. But the fact that one of them are probably going to go home and they think that it's her, I could probably be upset about it and then use it in my favor.
What's great about that scene, though, is that it's 3 Gata members that are sitting on the beach, and had they stuck together from the very beginning, I mean, they definitely could have been controlling things, but they didn't, obviously. But I think that's a great scene with the 3 of them sitting on the beach. Sam decides to lay out his cards and say, hey, that Rachel didn't want to play with him, and so he had to do something, which is true. Everyone's got to do something, especially when people don't want to play with you. You got to go find someone else to play with, right?
Exactly. And I love that Sam pointed that out. I mean, like, you didn't want to work with me, so what was I supposed to wait until you guys decide to take me out of the game? And
exactly.
So, I know. I love that he pushed back a little bit there, with her kind of being like, why are you trying to save Genevieve? And it's like, Sam would have gone out that probably if it went smoothly, Sam would have been out of this game. So, Rachel doesn't really have a leg to stand on, but I do think that it was good with her playing into the emotion of her, like, going home if she doesn't win, or since she didn't win immunity. Rachel, though, doesn't want to use her idol, and she's talking to Andy and tells him that he would lose against Sam, and talk about his perception with the jury. And this is where she starts laying out the Andy, you can't win case, which I think it was probably one of her strongest moves that she's made in this game, because Andy is such an emotional player, and about the perception of him in this game, that just really, really, well, not appealing, but like playing into his emotions around how his perception, I thought was very smart. And I was like, Andy, don't fall for it.
You fell for it.
You fell for it. So I wrote at this point,
that's where his ego came in. I mean, that's definitely where his ego came in and started pitching her, because he thought that she was going to be going to the jury. But I mean, that was a big mistake. Why would you not think that it's possible that Rachel has an idol?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a possibility. Yeah. Like, it shouldn't be maybe even like a 10%. There should be a fail safe.
She went on a few journeys, for one that I can remember off the top of my head. So she's had chances where she could have picked one up.
Well,
And like, what if she was lying the whole time about the block vote? Being like, maybe she told you guys it was a block vote. What if it's actually an idol? Like, even just to have that thought that she could have said that she got something, but not being fully transparent and honest about what she actually got. Like, the fact that none of them even suspected that she had anything it was a shocking oversight.
I mean, and he wasn't even playing to the jury. He was playing to Ponderosa. So if she's going home, he wanted her to go and say, Andy did this, Andy did that, Andy did this. You guys didn't see Andy do that. Andy did all these wonderful things. But that would have happened at Ponderosa, right? So it wouldn't have, well, that is the jury, obviously, but that's what he was playing. But she's got to go to Ponderosa. She needs to tell him that I did all of these things, which that was his demise right there.
Yeah, and she knew that that chord was, if she strikes that chord, that's going to really evoke an emotion from him. Like, that's just his weak point. That's his Achilles heel, is what people think of me. They have to know I'm great. Because he was so boastful on the confessionals and just so
for the cutting the coconuts, like
like he needed
getting
that
called by Rachel that his game has been a nothing burger.
Yeah, he needs that recognition. I think that was really important to him for on many levels. His mom is a fan, and like he had a lot of pressure.
Well, she did a great job of putting him in that position and really sparking his internal representation to get those feelings out and so forth, and get him spilling the beans on what he did. I thought that was great. And then Rachel's there. Geez, I think you're a bigger threat than Genevieve. I got to get you out
at this point because Genevieve has the idol.
Well, she's got an idol, but yeah, it was Sam. But I mean, just saying overall, I don't want to go to the jury or to go to the end with you because you've got a great story to tell. Right. So now that you've told me the story, there's no way that I want to take you to the end. So he really messed up there. That was definitely his demise.
100%. I was thinking that maybe Andy was going to vote with Rachel and Sue here, like do another little flip back. Like I wasn't sure what Andy was going to do. And Rachel even says to him, like, you weren't even picked by Genevieve. You were last. You were last to be picked on to go on this reward with Genevieve. She wanted to pick Sam. She picked Teeny and Sue. She didn't even pick you. And I'm like, oh my God, Rachel, this poor guy, he just went on Operation Italy. It was probably a good idea for her to, spread the wealth and get more information and maybe make some more ties. Like, but nope, she really, really made Andy feel expendable.
Well, here's the thing, real quick, before you move on. Here's the thing: Rachel gave him a chance to come with them, and he didn't take it. She said, "Hey, come with us, but you got to promise me one thing: that you'll never lie to me." And he couldn't, do that because he's a liar, right? So right there, he could have been on the right side, but instead he went and said, "No, you're going home." And you don't have a chance in going any further. And that's all he saw when he could have aligned with them and done some other moves to get Sam out, right?
I think he was blinded by the fact that he didn't think that Rachel had an idol. He thought that this was going to be his finishing move here. Operation Italy turns into taking out Rachel having all the information about how he was the one that made all this happen to allow him to propel as the winner of the game. And so I think he was just blinded by winning, basically, that he wasn't thinking strategically anymore and allow him to send himself out of the game, basically.
Yeah.
So I was worried for Andy at this point. I thought that before we saw him laying out his game, I thought that like Andy might be able to win this game. I really did. Before he had that conversation with Rachel, I was like, Andy might be able to do it. And it kind of sucks that like he screwed himself over this way because I do think he had a shot. So we get to tribal. You know, they talk about the accidental situation with the idol or non-idol play that happened the previous round, and Rachel is not having any of it. She calls bullshit on this accidental idol play, lack of play, flipping votes, flipping sides situation. Were you happy that Rachel called them out on their lies?
Sheila?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could have happened that way. It's possible, but highly unlikely, and she's not having it.
No, she's working the jury at this point
Yeah.
too, right? So she's working the jury, letting them know, everything that's really going on. So I think that she did a good job on that, because I think at this point, everybody, there's no, I need to make friends anymore. There's no, geez, I need to align with you anymore. It's endgame. Right, so they're putting all the cards on the table at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that these next two tribals are the last two vote outs. So, because then it's going to be fire, and then it's the final three. So, you kind of have to get a lot of information out there.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay, Mimi. Mimi, where are you going? No.
She's going to get her a treat.
Ooh.
That's one way to keep her from not barking, is stuff her with the stuffed food in her mouth, right? So she was going to get her a treat.
Kind of like Teeny. Like when Teeny is quiet, exactly. she speaks more, but Mimi will be quieter when you give her treats.
Usually, I mean, she's done really good, because when Sheila and I are together right here in the office and we're doing a Zoom or something like that together, she'll now come to Sheila and start barking and begging, because she knows that usually when we do this, she gets a treat, because we want to shut her up. So as soon as we come in here and we're here and we're ready to do something, she starts pandering to Sheila to go get her a treat. And so she's done a good job here. We've gone an hour or so, and she's done a good job of not really bothering us. So she's learning. She's learning.
Well, she's also teaching you that, like, hey, you want me to be quiet, what we're gonna have to do.
You have no idea how she plays us. No idea how she plays us, man. No idea. She has trained us. 100%. She's trained us. 100% on many different levels. Many different levels. But she's quiet now.
The plan works.
So Rachel talks about how they had a funeral for her tonight, and this is also, I think, Rachel pandering to the jury here, being like, knowing what's going to happen. Talk about the Genevie versus Rachel, the Voldemort versus Harry Potter, putting that in there, back and forth, and then Genevie won the immunity idol. And so that means that Rachel is going home, and they planned their funeral. And I'm like, wow, laying it on thick, because she knows she is not going home. This is going to play very well to the jury. Very well. Mm-hmm. We know that Sue is not voting out Rachel. I didn't write anything else before this tribe, but the vote happened. Is there anything else that happened that you want to talk about before the vote?
I'm just looking here. Not really. I mean, not really. No, let's move forward. Let's move on.
So it's time to vote. We do see Rachel does use the block of vote on Sam. When Sam goes up to vote, the vote is blocked. And so, okay, I'm going to sort of read what I wrote, because I don't remember what was said here, but it says, the best thing about eluding your own funeral is knowing that you are going to wake up tomorrow. Oh, this is Rachel saying this when she went to vote. So the votes are, Rachel does use her immunity idol. The votes are red. 3 votes are for Rachel, which are all blocked. And so the surprise, because we know that they go and they see the votes, who's going home, and they're going to put the votes back in the urn in the most dramatically compelling way. So having Rachel's vote be blocked is going to be most dramatic, because we know who have Sue and Rachel decided to vote for. And the fourth vote.
Isn't that editing? I always thought that was editing, basically, when they're reading the vote.
I could be wrong, but I think that they put it back in the urn, and he does reveal them in the order that they place them in, but for the most dramatic effect. So
Okay.
sometimes I try to guess who is going home by the order that they put the votes.
Mhm.
Like that's kind of like a meta game that I like to play. But I couldn't tell with this one because it's going to be either Sam or Andy. So it was Andy. Andy gets 2 votes. Ouch! Andy is out of the game. He is honored to play with all of them.
But Angelique?
No.
And Rachel says to him, "You were very convincing, just not in the way that you thought." Andy's back out of the game. I think he handled it really well. Being idle out of the game is kind of a cool way to go because, like, you know, you didn't really plan for it. You didn't really know that was going to happen. And so it sucks. But I think he left in good spirits with how he played the game, his whole journey. And sad to see him go. He's gone. He's on the jury. He's gone.
We'll see how his reception is in Ponderosa.
Well, it doesn't matter at this point.
No, it doesn't
does
matter.
It doesn't matter at this point.
And all of the cards will be on the table now, so everyone can compare notes with him. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it will be interesting for him. Well, he's going to have to like do a lot of apologizing.
Well, he's playing the game, and I really don't think you can get upset with anyone because everyone's playing the game, and everyone's going to do whatever they have to do. And you might go in there thinking, "I'm not going to lie, cheat, or steal." But come on, when push comes to shove,
that's the game.
And you're out there with the elements. It's tough, and you're paying the price. You're gonna, lie, steal, and cheat.
That is the game. So I don't think he needs to apologize to anybody when he goes to Ponderosa. What for? They all did the same thing.
Feelings being hurt.
Yeah.
Being lied to. I mean, I've played some of these social strategy games outside, like that is not even on this level where the prize is nothing, and people still are, at odds with each other because like of things that have happened within a game. So people do get hurt. Like it's not like playing Monopoly, and it's just like okay.
Well, hold on a second. I get hurt in Monopoly. I definitely get hurt. How can you take my boardwalk?
What? You're gonna charge me rent? You're not gonna give me a pass? Like,
but it's kind of a double standard, though, don't you think? Like for someone to be so high and mighty, like you lied to me, I'm going to be angry at you now. But they probably would have done this, like it's kind of a double standard because you're playing a game.
Sierra was lying to Andy. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, not that I agree with the double standard. I just know that because these are people, not pieces, they get hurt. And so your moves, like it kind of like how Genevieve just wanted to play with people being pieces and then realizing that these pieces get hurt. I think it's just that. It's that they're making moves that are better for their game and not necessarily taking into account people's feelings. And so apologizing that their moves for their game are basically. But I do agree with you. Oh, is she hungry for more?
No, we've got Angelique and Kamika and your cousin is here. Okay. Yeah, Kamika came home yesterday as well. So they were all out there, and
she was expunged from the office.
Yeah, so Mimi's really nosy. So she wanted to know what's going on out there.
Oh my gosh, well, Mimi's an Aquarius, and Aquarius is a nosy sign, so it's hilarious.
Yeah, she's like woofing, like, I'm here too. What's going on?
Yeah, so she's gone to nosy.
So off she goes.
It's really funny. But like even dogs.
Scratching at the door now. Come on, Mimi.
We'll bring her, put her on your lap.
Put her on your lap? Put her on your lap. No, she doesn't want
to. She's not a lap.
She's not a lap dog?
Well, the other kids are picking her up, and so here she comes.
Mimi just want to be part of the pod.
You're on she watched Survivor too.
She does, yeah.
How'd you feel it? Were you sad that Andy went home, Mimi?
I don't know. Was she an Andy fan? Maybe.
Oh yeah, if I'm an Andy fan, she was an Andy fan.
What do you think about Andy going? What do you think?
She's happy here right now.
Okay.
Mimi's a star.
Okay,
so cute. Down. All right, so back from tribal council, they share about the idol info. What's that? Genevieve lies about finding hers. So basically, they want to know, like, okay, Rachel, like, when did you find this idol? And Rachel's like saying to Genevieve, like, oh, you got to tell me the story about how you found yours. And we're all thinking, like, man, like, Genevieve's gonna have to keep lying here. But she does.
She was quick though.
Oh,
she was quick.
Wow.
She said it was under the pizza, and Teeny said there was pizza.
Teeny just didn't seem to buy it though.
I think she did.
She's
definitely.
like pizza with it. Like she just seemed to question it.
I know. I think that was a question. She was questioning actually. Now that I'm remembering back to my thoughts,
so?
Because didn't she already say that she had to do a bunch of clues to get it? So I'm wondering if she was thinking like, wait, was the idol underneath the pizza, or was it the clue that was underneath the pizza? Like, I think she was questioning something about if Genevieve's story was holding true for what she told her when she did that quick little, showing of the idol and then running away when Andy came up.
Yeah, this is where Rachel says it was in her French fries and so forth, right?
Yeah, and they probably were like, I wish
that's what we call lucky.
Very lucky. Vegas lucky. I would, if I was Rachel, I'd be playing some lotteries at this point.
Well, I was lucky to get that, but she did do a good move in cutting that out of the tarp. So she did a great job of cutting that out and actually getting the idol.
Rachel and Genevieve are kind of talking back and forth pretty openly about the island not being big enough for the both of them. And I was just thinking, like, I agree that both of them are very strong contenders in this game. But I just wish that they would choose to work together instead of trying to get each other out of the game, because I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but I don't know if it's a slam dunk for Rachel to get to the end at this point. And so I think that if they went with the strategy of take all the strongest people to the end, I think that Rachel would have a really great chance at being taken to the end or going to the end as well. So now I think it's a little bit harder for her, but we'll see. So Rachel was out idle.
Hold on a second. Why is it harder for her now?
Well, okay, at the end of this episode.
But there's no more votes.
Well, because, so basically what happens at 4 is there's an immunity. So whoever wins the immunity, so if she doesn't win that immunity, she will be going into fire. So what I'm predicting is going to happen, so spoiler alert, I think that Sam is going to win that. That's not a spoiler, but I think Sam is going to win that immunity from what I saw in the preview, which means that I think that Sue is going to go against Rachel in fire. I feel like Rachel, because they talked about Rachel being great at fire and she's so good at fire, I feel like she's not going to win fire. It's just too obvious to me that
not against Sue, not against, but Sue,
right?
Sue's handled the fire
the whole season.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess
covered in soot, the whole soot thing. Yeah. I just feel like Sue might be taking out Rachel at fire. So the final 3 would end up being Sam, Teeny, Sam, Teeny, and Sue.
Oh,
and that's what I feel is going to happen. And I just think that
disappointing. Stop.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, the other way, it being a slam dunk on Rachel, I mean, that's boring TV. So yeah, let's get her out and let's have good TV.
Yeah, but so what you're saying is if Rachel, Genevieve, and Sue, or like
Rachel, Genevieve, Sue, and Sam were all there. Maybe not Sam, maybe Andy. Like, you know what I mean? If they had worked together as opposed to against each other, it just might have been more compelling in the end, and more likely that she would have won the immunity challenge instead of it being. It just obviously many different factors would have had to come into play, but I just wish that they were working together instead of against each other, because I think it would have been like Caroline might have still been there if that were the case. Like, it just would have been a little bit really different.
Everyone got so scared they didn't want to be next to someone that was, a big player. Like, I think that was their fear. Like, oh my gosh, we got to get them out and then you made a good point. Instead of working against each other, why not align?
Well, I mean, that's what Kyle wanted to do, is have the strong players go to the end, but no one wants to go to the end against a real competitor, because then it's a lot harder. They'd rather take Teeny to the end or Sue to the end. No one wants to take
Rachel
Sorry?
was trying to, not Rachel, sorry, Genevieve was trying to get Rachel to do that, being like, hey, like, let's get out these people, being Andy and Teeny, that might be taking up or Andy and Sue, that might be taking up seats in the final
Oh, yeah, the
tribal.
goat.
Like, let's maybe get rid of them. So like we have a better opportunity for more of us to get to the final. That could have been a good play for her with this whole new Final Four fire making thing, because that allows somebody good at fire to get to the end, and it's not just your social game, it's not just winning immunity. And so I don't know, I'm worried. We'll talk about it a little more in a second.
I hadn't thought that far ahead. Jeez.
Next year.
So Sue is definitely keeping her mouth shut about the idol that she still has that's valid or able to be used right now. So she's going to be making it past the final five for sure, because she does have this idol in her pocket. Genevieve took notes from Rome's playbook and was following Rachel around the island, doing it in a way that was less antagonizing than when Rome was doing it to Saul, but still quite annoying. Genevieve making sure that Rachel did not find this idol. You guys laughed. So you didn't find Rachel or Genevieve doing this?
No, I thought she took it out Rome's playbook for sure. But she wasn't as annoying. As a matter of fact, the two of them were just going along talking about how we're great and everybody else is not, basically, and we're frenemies, right? And we're running this game, and so I thought it was great, because it was almost like when you see these boxers, so Mike Tyson against Jake Paul, and it's like they're doing the whatever they do at the beginning where they have the face off.
And they're gonna hit. Is it gonna go like Mike Tyson and hit him in
the
head?
It's like they're gonna go like it's like a face-off or like a gunslinger where game recognizes game, right? So, but hey, listen, we're gonna still go out there at the OK Corral at 12 noon, and we're gonna have a shoot-off to see who is the best gunslinger in this town, or So that's what I felt that was like, is that the two of them were really sizing each other up and saying, okay, I'm going against you, you're going against me. At that point, and everybody else back at the camp were kind of not happy about them acting like that after they got back too, because they're saying even Sue was not happy about it. At least she was saying that. Maybe she was goading those people along to, or goading, I should say, those people along to, start spilling what they felt. But yeah, they weren't happy with these two kind of propping themselves up and walking around like they're peacocks.
It's like, well, either one of the two of them are going to win, and like nobody else has a chance. I totally get that. They do say when they're talking with each other that, like, well, if neither of us win, who does then? And they said Sam. And I was like, interesting that they would leave that in there. Then they cut directly to Sam being annoyed that those two women were saying that it's only between the two of them and none of us here have a chance. And like, oh, you're the better player. Oh, if it's not you, it's like, and they're kind of doing this and being braggadocious about their gameplay with everybody at camp. And Sam was not having this. Sam did not like feeling lesser than these two women with their game winning potential. So yeah, Sam is not going to let that happen. We get to the immunity challenge. Basically, they have to dig through the sand and crawl underneath the beam, and then there's a balance beam. There's a sand on the balance beam with balls. I can't remember how it goes actually. On the balance beam, do they hold in the balls?
No. So they're on the balance beam, and they have to stack 6 balls.
Oh yeah, with the little stacker. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're on a wobbly beam, and then they have to stack what is it, like a platform, like a stand, then a ball, then a stand, then a ball, then a stand, then a ball.
Right.
So 6 balls high and 6 stands high. And this went back and forth a lot. I was really rooting for Genevieve to win this one for sure. Who are you guys rooting for, if anybody?
I was rooting for Genevieve as well.
But if you drop everything, you have to start from the beginning. And I don't know how I felt about that, because I was like, if it still stayed on, like, you should just be able to like pick up the ones that fell on the ground and then maybe start from there, maybe. What do you guys think about the rules of this particular challenge?
I think that it was a very important immunity challenge, and they had to make it difficult. And if you fall, you start over. I mean, it made sense based on where they are in the game. Like,
I
like
don't
this
know
is
how
a
long.
huge immunity.
I don't know how long they went with it, but it seemed like they were there for a while. And Jeff was there. This is just like Survivor. You got to get in there at first and use these first tries to learn how this works and so on and so forth. And that's what they had to do, right? They had to fail, fail. And every time they failed, they figured it out a little bit better, just like most games, right? So, eventually they ended up getting it. But yeah, I was hoping that Genevieve would have won. But no, she did not.
It did not happen. She was a very close contender. I was hoping that because she has height, that she would maybe be able to just have a better positioning for the taller balls. And she was very good at this, but in the end, they were neck and neck. But Rachel does eke out another win, winning her spot into the final four, her third individual immunity challenge win this season, which is also a pretty impressive feat. So yes, Rachel is not going home this episode. And from everything that we've been told about, it's either Rachel or Genevieve, it looks like Genevieve is done. Did you see any hope for Genevieve at this point?
What, after the immunity challenge?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, what hope was there? I mean, Rachel didn't want to take her to the end, so what hope would she have?
Be Teeny, Andy, and Genevieve
Andy's
voting
gone.
out
Andy's
Sue.
gone.
That's sorry, Teeny, Sam, and Genevieve voting out maybe Sue, which they didn't know that Sue had an idol, but
she was done.
I guess it should still would have gotten the votes from Sue and Genevieve in the end.
Cooked.
Cooked it is. Okay, so basically it's going to be Sam versus Genevieve here. And Sam is like, you know what? Well, it's not going to be me because I'm going to tell them that Genevieve's idol is fake. And so they're going to be voting out Genevieve. And I was wondering, like, maybe Sam giving out this information will allow them to believe that he's lying and like something was going to happen that was different than they're expecting. So I loved, though, that it did kind of make things a little bit confusing, but it didn't end up working. What you guys think?
What would have been great if Genevieve actually found an idol when she was out there with Rachel and they were off separate and she actually found an idol and she didn't tell anybody. That would have been awesome.
That would have been so great.
That would have been awesome.
Like, oh my God, that would have been so good. I wonder if one was rehidden. I would say no, because Sue still had an idol in play. But I don't know if you saw season 41, I think was the most recent time where this had happened, where there was an idol that was rehidden. Danny McRae was looking for the idol and didn't find it, but then the camera zoomed in on where the idol actually, or the clue or whatever it was hidden. So I wonder, would think that they would have showed us that there was an idol hidden that she walked by. And so that makes me believe that there wasn't an idol rehidden.
But the fact that Rachel played hers, doesn't that put one more back in the game?
Yes and no. I'm just curious because Sue still had one in the game. Like, they don't usually re-hide one unless there's none. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think.
I don't know.
Sue's was before the merge. I don't know. I'm not actually sure. Maybe
why were they out there looking for it then, Genevieve and Rachel?
Well, with the hope. You don't know whether or not there's one hidden or not hidden. But I'm just saying that, like, I would think that they would have showed us where they'd walked by this idol if there was one that was rehidden. Or unless they just didn't walk by it and it was rehidden. I don't know. Je ne sais pas. So Teeny flashbacks to all of Genevieve's moves that fooled her and how she's fell into every single trap. And so then Teeny tells Sue and Rachel that, Genevieve's idol is fake, but they don't buy Genevieve's idol being fake. They think that Teeny's getting duped again. Why would Sam offer up this information? So Teeny being kind of I don't know what's the word I want, useless in this game, is like not helping her cause with bringing some town crier information to Rachel and Sue. Teeny wants to talk to Genevieve just to confirm whether it's true or it's not true. And Genevieve does say that, yes, it is a fake idol. And at this point, Genevieve is upset with Sam for outing it. Do you think that Genevieve should maybe have lied to Teeny again here?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not lie, but not spill. Hey, I guess we'll see. We'll see if it's real or not. Let's see. And
Be a
so
little coy
she
about
could have
it.
put more doubt into Teeny, which, they ended up, well, I guess it was a split vote when we got down to it. But yeah, I think she should have continued playing the game. She basically laid down at that point.
Yeah, I think she just didn't want to hurt Teeny again. And maybe she was upset that Sam had turned on her, I guess. But yeah, I think she still had a move in there to maybe get it onto Sam and being like, Teeny, it's not real. Let's just get out Sam. Like, he's really good at making fire and he could win the final. He could say one of those things. And she'd be like, I would take you to the final 3, Teeny. Sam, we don't know if he'd do that for you. And do you want to lose to Sam?
Right.
Or her?
Well, at least this way she might garner a vote from Teeny by letting her know that idol was fake. That's something that Teeny would think, okay, she did that for me. I don't know.
So they aren't sure if Sam is lying and everybody's confused. And it's just a little bit of a clusterfuck of like what's going on with like what's going to actually happen. We get to Tribal. Obviously, it's another showdown between Genevieve and Sam here because Rachel is out of the equation. Teeny doesn't know if Genevieve's idol is real or not. Does out Sam for giving her this information about the idol being fake, which I wonder if that will look poor in the jury's eyes, that like he completely, outed that, or if it would look positive in his eyes that he did everything that it took for his game to advance. So
I think it was positive, personally. I'm not on the jury, mind you, but I think it was positive. It was great play for him to do that. What else is he going to do?
Yeah,
he's like
sitting up,
crying. He's like, yeah. So I thought he did a great job there by outing Genevieve.
And you know what? This was probably what was going to happen anyways. Like Genevieve was probably going to be taken out over Sam, but at least now it looks like he made a move here, right? Like it looks like his offering up that information made them focus on Genevieve as the person to take out, even though I think that she would have been taken out regardless. I think it looks like a move in his pocket. So
yeah, I agree.
It's good. They say that if you want information out there, you tell Teeny, the town crier, Teeny. Basically, everybody is certain that they're uncertain with what is going on in this vote. Genevieve wants to vote for Genevieve. And Rachel thinks that if it's real, that they will vote Teeny. So yes, so Teeny turns to Rachel and being like, I don't know, like I'm kind of worried about this vote. And Rachel's like, they'll vote for you if it's, and I don't even think that's true. I think they would actually, maybe it would be Teeny or Sue, but like she put that fear in Teeny being like, no, you have to vote this way. Because you would be the one that goes out if they're lying. So just don't take the chance. And so we get to the vote. Play the fake one, so maybe Sue plays hers. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Because I was hoping that like something was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be as straightforward as it was in the end. But when it was time to to play idols, we do see Genevieve say like, see, it was fake. Like, it wasn't real. In a really defeated way, I was like, Genevieve, but like, I would have loved for her to walk up there and be like, I know this is fake, but I still want to play it for you, Jeff. Like, that would have been fun, I think, instead of her just kind of like being like, see, Teeny, told you, I didn't lie to you. And Sue does play her idol for herself. It was kind of nothing.
She was so proud.
The red paint idol. Oh.
She was so proud. No, I had it. So and Sam was like, what do you say? Like, when did you get it or something like that? Sam was like, very impressed that she had it all that time.
Before,
At least,
before
he said that to her, so he's probably trying to align with her now. But she was so proud to play that idol. She's had it for so long too, right? So
It
she
didn't
was
have
proud.
much impact, but
none.
She didn't have to play it.
She didn't have to play it.
Didn't have
Could have
to.
taken it home as a memento.
Well, no, when I say she didn't have to play it, she didn't have to play it before that point.
Yeah,
because if she had gotten one vote on her, she needed to play it, I think.
Yeah.
But she basically, when she was out there, she didn't have to play it before. So that's all she's going to be able to say. I played a game where I didn't even have to play my idol, right? So that's all she has at the jury. I didn't even have to play my idol. That's how good I was.
So the votes come out, and it's Genevieve, Sam, and Sam again. Then Genevieve. Now it's the last vote, and it is our Canadian girl, Genevieve, who is going to be voted out. 5th place of this game. Does not make it to the final 4. Does not make it to the final 3. Genevieve is not winning Survivor season 47. Very sad day. I was bummed. I was bummed that she couldn't figure something out. She got outplayed by Sam in that last round.
Basically.
Yep.
I wasn't happy about that. She does say thanks for the opportunity. I had the time of my life. I did feel sad for Genevieve because I think she could have done it. But I think that she just probably just didn't have the strength in her to be able to do what she needed to do to get to the next round. She would have had to.
She didn't have the people either.
She was done, cooked, done. But you notice one thing, that she hugged everybody, like all the other tribe members. She hugged them, but she didn't hug Jeff. And Jeff kind of was really, in a way, I don't know if he was upset that she was gone too, but she says, yep, the tribe has spoken. And he kind of just moved away from her. And it was just not as embracing as he was with other players.
Well, I don't think that Jeff likes hugging these people.
No, I was going to say
Smelly, and he's probably respects the fact that she's not that emotional and doesn't need a hug from Jeff. So I wonder if this will get her a call for 50 because she did not hug Jeff.
Wow, I'd love to see her back in 50.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
She'd be great. I don't think there should be 2 people from the season, but separately, I would like to see Genevieve. I think she'd be really fun. Even Andy would be fun separately. I don't think they should be playing together though. Do we have any MVPs this episode?
Yeah, I mean, Sheila, go ahead.
Well,
obviously Rachel, right?
For winning the immunity idol again.
Yep.
I mean, she really did cement herself in this game. Here's
and sneaking, listening.
Yeah, and playing the idol. I mean, she did. Yeah, sneaking up on the bush.
What is that the last one? I can't remember now, but she deserves it anyway.
But 100%. Who else?
And I guess Sam.
Sue. I'd say Sue because she got to play her hidden idol effectively, I guess. So. But I guess Sam as well, right? Sam.
For turning on Genevieve, for saving his
for staying in the game, for allowing them to let him get to the final 4. So I think I'm going to put Rachel and Sam here as our MVP for this episode. So yeah, I already kind of laid out what I think could potentially happen. I think it's just too much of a slam dunk that Rachel wins this season. Everybody has her 90% odds that Rachel's going to win this game. It's just been too obvious, I feel. I know we were talking a little bit earlier about the edit, and you're saying that the edit is telling the story, and it seems like it's telling the story of Rachel. But could it be telling the story about Rachel being a player that doesn't get to the end and doesn't end up winning? Is that what we're seeing here? And just from hearing in this episode that Rachel and Genevieve saying, if it's not us, that in the end, who wins? They said Sam. And I'm like, they wouldn't leave that in there unless it's a possibility. And then with the fact that maybe it looks like a very physically capable challenge for the final four immunity. And then if Sam wins, if I were Sam, I would be putting Sue versus Rachel in that fire, hoping that Sue will take out Rachel. And if Rachel is not there, I do think Sam might be a slam dunk for the win. He would have, I think, Rachel's vote and would have Genevieve's vote. And I think that both of those people have influence with the jury. Sierra would be voting for Sam. I think even Andy would be voting for Sam. And so that's 4 right there. With the juries of 7, I think Sam might take home the win. So,
I mean, that would be a good twist. I think that would be good TV at that point. I mean, not the greatest, but it would be better than Rachel going there with Teeny and Sue, and that would be a slam dunk, right? So I think it would be great TV if Rachel gets out. We'll see.
Somewhere in my super sleuthing at some point, someone said that when they, and this is editing stuff, when they have a certain and honestly I can't remember, but I know that they said this. If they have a certain something on the logo, then it's a woman who wins.
Okay.
And this episode, in this season, the logo had whatever it was.
For a woman?
So they're thinking it's going to be a woman. So I don't know.
I haven't seen this particular flag super sleuth theory, but one time they did it. I think it was season 42 or 42 or 43, one of the two. Usually it has like a person that's on it that looks like the winner, and the person that was on it that looked like the winner was this woman Lauren, because it looked like it had like an afro and like it was holding the staff, and she did not end up winning. So I feel like the flag theory has been debunked or has not been reliable, but I don't know. I haven't seen this one yet.
We shall see.
We'll see.
So we'll see. Okay, so what are your final predictions here of what's going to happen?
Well, Sheila?
I
think overall it's anyone's game.
Anyone? So even Teeny?
Well, no, I mean anyone's game.
Maybe put them in order as to who you think is most likely to least likely win.
Okay, so most likely Rachel, then Sam, then Sue, then Teeny.
Fair.
Agreed.
Fair. I mean, we're all hoping that it's Rachel, but I feel like they would have been editing a little bit differently if it were her in the end. So
we shall see. This is going to be an interesting week next Wednesday.
Wednesday, we'll see.
Interesting week. So we shall see. We'll be back, right, with
for the finale, the final.
Our final opinions, I guess.
Our final opinions to see if all the theories are coming to pass or not.
Correct.
Amazing. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Nope.
No, I'm good. A great week though. It's got to be like, again, we haven't been watching these shows overall over the last few years.
You guys have a lot of good knowledge, so it doesn't sell yourself
short. With not a lot of intent, and watching it now with intent, I think this has been a great season so far.
Yay.
And yeah, I mean the season could almost end here, and it would have been a great season. So we'll see what happens if it's going to be highlighted next week, whether we get a lot of gameplay next week somehow. I don't know, but it's been a great season. I love it.
Yay! Well, thank you for doing this with me.
It's been great.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. And Kate says thank you for a lovely lunch break. So thank you. Because is it still breakfast for you? Yeah, it's still breakfast for you guys.
Yeah, we haven't had it yet. So Mimi's probably wants to go eat.
She wants breakfast.
No, she's being nosy. She's smelling some people cooking out in the kitchen there.
Oh, well, make sure everybody please subscribe to the channel, like this video. Let us know what your rankings are of who you think is going to win and who, we predict is going to win. And give us all your thoughts on this the finale, episode 14 of Survivor 47. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bob and weave.